Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial we are going to be creating a spooky wood grain tumbler. So look at me, I have already lost my little V-split that we're going to use, and I'm not even 30 seconds into the tutorial. Here we go. Okay, so this is what we're going to use. I have already spray painted a white base, which is what you need for wood grain. I'm going to go ahead and apply this, so I'm just not wasting time on areas that I don't need the wood grain to be in. This is from Slide Hustle. We're also working on another cup. I'm making these for Dan and Susan over at Slide Hustle because they're such wonderful people to work with, and it's been a while since I made them something. So this one is not going to be glitter. But I will have a tutorial on the other tumbler with glitter. So we just cut off a little piece of that backing. That way we could line it up and leave a little bit of this exposed at the top. This is from a full sheet of little V-splits like this. Love that concept that they do with those V-splits. It makes it so easy. You definitely need to check it out. If the other tutorial is posted before this one, I will have that linked down below for y'all. And then I'll also have another tutorial that I did using their jumbo V-split or extra large V-split. I can't think off the top of my head what they do call them. But they're these pre-cut super big ones that fit the 32-ounce plump from TIPSY Magnolia. So now I spray painted this using my Color Shot white spray paint. My Color Shot spray paint does not work well with alcohol inks. So since that was the only white that I have, I went over it with a matte clear coat from Rust-Oleum. If you have a spray paint and you're unsure, just go over it with a matte Rust-Oleum clear coat. Otherwise, use the matte white Rust-Oleum spray paint. It works a lot better in this case. I can't believe I'm saying that because I absolutely love my Color Shot paints, but in this case it does work a lot better. The two inks that we are using will be Black Space and Espresso. I'm going to be honest, it has been a long time since I did a wood grain tumbler. I'm not certain that it's going to come out looking super great, especially since I do not have a chip brush. But we are going to go with it, and I've already made a mistake. I did not. Oh my goodness, Brittany. I did not tape off my vinyl. Jesus. And I feel like this is already pulling up some of that paint. Brr. I sprayed it probably 2 times with, almost got my toe. I sprayed it 2 times over top of my Color Shot paints with the Rust-Oleum matte clear coat, and I'm not sure that that is going to completely work for us. Sure hope it does. So the idea with this one is to try to make more masculine-like tumbler instead of our typical glitter. Okay. Dude, how did glitter get on here? Go away now. Okay, so let's get back to this. First, I'm just going to brush this all over the cup to give it a base. I don't want to overdo it. Just kind of roughly get this on here. You want to kind of avoid those runs if you can, because it does kind of seep in, and for me, they're a little hard to get out once you get some runs. So work in small sections at a time. And again, this is best done with a chip brush, because the chip brush really gives you some good texture that is very much wood-like. But I don't have one of those today, and I am running with an idea. So, you know, when those ideas just kind of spark, if you don't act out on them, it's almost like they leave, or you think of something better. So I am running with an idea. The only thing I'm trying to do is keep my line straight and cover the whole base. That's the biggest thing. Get the whole base covered, get my line straight, and then we're going to go in with the black and hopefully kind of break this up a little bit and add some texture. Sorry, I had to go off there for a second to get the bottom. Okay. And we can play around with other colors. I believe I might have a different brown. And this may even turn into being more of just a distressed kind of painted on background. I won't be mad about that. Some things just don't always go as planned, and I try to go with it and just make the best of it if it does look really nice. If it doesn't, of course, I will start over. But things like this where it's not a custom order, I don't have anyone expecting to see some amazing wood grain work. I'm just going for a dark base. I was going for wood grain, but sometimes whenever you go with an idea, you just kind of got to trust the process. Trust the process, make some adjustments where it's necessary, and just go with it, because that can sometimes end up in your best designs that you've ever done. looks pretty cool. But I think I do want to add, don't run on me. We'll be adding a decal here on the back side. So these little spots that I popped out with those glitter specks, I'm not worried about because we'll be adding a decal over that area. Oh no. Paint. Thank you. Okay. I think that is actually looking pretty good. We're going to go around the edges down here. Now see, that didn't turn out wood grain at all, but you can see the colors in there. And I like it. Let's do a little bit here on the bottom. Very nice. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and remove our tape. We will be sealing this in with Rust-Oleum Matte Clear Coat, but only after this is given several hours to dry. I want to give that alcohol ink plenty of time to dry before we do go in with that clear coat. Otherwise, it's going to give it a really weird texture. So give this a good while. I'll actually probably come back in the morning and spray seal this. Then once we do that, we will put a coat of epoxy on here before we add on our pinstriping and our decal on the back. I've been using tons of glitter, and I'm going to try my best not to get anything on this dark surface that does not have glitter on it. So I'm going to put some paper down. And then what I think we're going to do is incorporate these 3 vinyls as pinstriping on here. So it will match this one. And then maybe on this one, we will use some black and orange to tie into here. That's my thought process. Doesn't always mean it is going to work that way, but we are going to try. So I want to do just a couple of each color. Let's start with our holographic green. All of these vinyls are from TECKWRAP, as usual. And don't worry about any of the marks or fingerprints or scratches that you see on this vinyl. It has a plastic protective layer on it that we will peel off right before we put it onto the cup. Love that about TECKWRAPCRAFT. I think I'm just going to do one strip of that. Actually, maybe just one strip of each color. I think that will look good because we do have to add a decal on as well, and I don't want to take up too much space. I'm going to do an orange, the same size. It might be a hair smaller. That's fine. We're not being particular. Now we're going to do a pretty thin strip of our bright green just to add a pop of color and tie it into our other cup. I don't think go through my vinyl really quick. I don't have a holographic in this one. Well, I do, but it's this patterned holographic, and I don't want to use that. I do have an opal and then this one, and I think the best choice is this one, just a solid green. We want it to look nice, but not too fancy. Not too fancy. I'm just going to cut off this piece. And then we're going to cut 2 thinner strips of this one. See if I can manage to cut this pretty straight. That looks good. And if this is one of the first tutorials of mine that you're coming across, the reason that I do not drag out my Cricut for this is because I don't have an area in my craft room. Well, I would have if I didn't have so much stuff packed in here, but I don't have an area in my craft room that I can permanently leave my Cricut out. So anytime I'm just cutting a few strips out of different colors, I always cut them by hand. Trying to get the glitter off my hands. It's everywhere. It's on the clothes. It's impossible to come in here and not get glitter on something. So, what did I say we were going to do? We're going to do the green first. Here is that protective layer I was talking about. You just peel it right off. Now, before I do put it on my Cricut machine, I will take that off. It'll just make a hot mess if you leave it on there. But if you forget to take it off and you cut something on your Silhouette, Cricut, whatever, all you have to do is, hold on. I gotta let my brain work here. I can't talk and brain at the same time. All you have to do is take a lint roller over top of whatever vinyl you cut that turned into a hot mess because you still had that protective layer on there, and roll it off with the lint roller. It'll come right off. Of course, speaking from experience. And when I cut this, I want to cut right alongside our vinyl, so I'm not going all the way up to the top, because if there's any sanding, which I'm doubtful that there will be on this, but if there is any sanding that needs to be done, I do not want to damage my vinyl. And some people will overlap their vinyl like this. I don't like that. I like it to be at a really nice point. So I'm overlapping my vinyl below the tip. You know, this is such a small cup. I only needed one strip of this, I believe. I'm letting my vinyl overlap beneath the tip of our V. That way, oh no, it's gonna be, look at that. What the heck, Batman? If I would have put that up a little bit higher, it would have worked. But that way, when I cut a point, it will look real nice. I don't like my vinyl overlapping because it shows indents and creases and okay. That looks good. So I'm going to take my knife, make sure it's good and sharp. I'm going to go right from the top of this little square that we can see here. You see that square? Right here from the center down to the tip. I'll pop off the excess over top. Now I'll very, very carefully pull up this side and pull out this piece underneath. Put that down in place, and now we have a nice point that goes in line with our vinyl instead of the square overlap. I like it much better that way. I'm going to put my bright green next. I'm not sure if I did mention it, but this is the chrome green bubble-free vinyl from TECKWRAP. The decals that we are using, I don't know if I showed you in the beginning of this video or not. Look at all that dust that's getting on here. I'm not sure if I showed you those, but they are also from Slide Hustle. And actually coordinate with lots of their beautiful, spooky, cool Halloween designs that they have. when you're applying vinyl, especially when you're using a good, thinner, high quality vinyl like this, don't put any sort of tension on it when you're pulling. It may look like I'm pulling towards the bottom whenever I'm applying the vinyls, but I'm putting as little tension on it as possible, because when I cut it, I don't want this to try to go back to its original shape or form and cause a gap in my lines down here where I trim it. So just do your best not to put any tension on it, because it will stretch. All right, last piece. This is going to overlap nice right here at the top, and we'll just trim that to look nice. So I just have enough tension on it that it's not just kind of hanging here. And it goes the direction that I want it to go. Not really, because it didn't. This right here filled in this gap really nice. I'm going to cut it to a point. Remove the excess the same way out from over top and underneath. And then we are going to make that top even. Having some trouble here. There we go. Don't want to give me some trouble. Just try to remember to be gentle, because the vinyl will definitely show any mistakes made, or if you crease it too much in one area. So we've got some fingerprints all over the place on this. Before I put my clear decal on here, it's a white element decal, so it has white underneath the ink, but it also has clear in these areas, and I don't want to trap in those fingerprints. So I'm gonna go wash this really quick, and we'll be back to add on our decal. Okay. How cute. This is the matching one, and it did come off of an entire sheet. So I'll be putting this on this one and this on this one. It's gonna be so cute. And I cut out really close because it's not completely necessary, but I did want to make sure, don't want to touch the back of this. I did want to make sure that it was going to fit where I wanted it to fit. So that is why it's trimmed so close, but especially if you are putting a decal with any clear on it on a cup that does not have some texture like glitter or micas or something in behind it, you want to touch it as little as possible on that clear portion, because it will 100% show. You will see your fingerprints. And I'm even actually going to trim off that little spot that I have my nail on, because I don't want to see it. Trying to get this lined up without touching anything. Now to remove all of the fingerprints that I'm putting on here, by applying my decal, I will be washing this again before I put epoxy on and drying it off with a microfiber towel. Ugh, I hate the feeling of those, but they do work in getting all of the fingerprints and lint off of your cups. And also you can take, look at how cute that looks. Okay, also you can take the microfiber cloth and go over this with pressure, and it will help you press this decal and the edges down really well. That way it's not showing under epoxy. But this one is done, and it is so stinking cute. I can't wait to get the decal on this one too. Oh, love it. Okay, so I'm gonna go wash this, and we probably will not be back to put our final layer of epoxy on it, but I will be using 2 coats of a little extra incorporated epoxy. My favorite is their turbo. All right, y'all, I'm not even gonna try to sugarcoat it. We have animals going crazy outside, but this is the best video that I can get of these without having a ridiculous glare on them from this awesome ALE epoxy. We didn't do a final video because once our power come back on, we were without power for a week. I just threw epoxy on cups as fast as I could to try to get some things going. I have so many Halloween tutorials that I wanted to pump out this past week for y'all, but we couldn't because we were without power. So now that things are getting back to normal, we have both of these almost done. They still need one coat of epoxy, so ignore these little dimples and stuff that you might see on here. But I think they turned out really cute. I think Dan and Susan are going to be very happy with them. So with that being said, since we are close to Halloween, there is still time to get these orders in and get your Halloween images, because I mean, just look at it. Look at how cute those are. And the glare on these is ridiculous from that ALE epoxy. This is actually their turbo. I use turbo honestly for all of my coats because I just love it. It dries fast, it's high quality, and you can't beat that shine. So hope that y'all enjoy these crazy tutorials for matching cups for our Dan and Susan over at Slide Hustle. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and I will answer them as quickly as possible. All materials will be listed down in the description for you as well. That is all for today. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next time.